Hey guys, how's it going? I am on my way over to my friend's shop. A video about 2 or 3 videos ago, we rescued 2 VW bus parts buses. That's all they are, split window buses that have lived long past their prime. They were in a junkyard. Somebody else pulled them out of a junkyard, grabbed some stuff off of them, and then we grabbed the carcasses for what was left. So they're pretty far gone, not much except for drivetrain components. Sheet metal stuff is pretty bad. Nose we already cut off of one of them to use. It ended up being wall art, and the same may happen with the other nose. But the pass-through is going to go. There's a walkthrough, a non-walkthrough that one of my buses need, so that's going to come out of one of them. But one has an engine, and that engine, again, it's been in a junkyard for over 40 years. One bus is stacked on top of the other. We are going to go to see what kind of shape it's in and see if we can go fire that up. So hopefully the weather kind of changes because it's outside and it does not roll. So we will be dealing with it outside. It looks like it's slowing down, hopefully. But when I get there, I'll turn the camera back on and we'll get into it. Well, it stopped raining. That's a good sign. That bus right there, again, was in a junkyard, had another bus stuck on top of it, and you know, had a life of parts getting picked off of it, and we are doing the same for what's left. It has an engine in it that is in of unknown condition. She's a peach, huh? So he went and took the plugs out of it and shot some oil in it just to let that sit, and that's where it is right now. She's a pretty dirty one for sure, but we are going to try and see if this thing will fire up for us. It's really toasty. The piece that I need for one of my buses is right here. It's this section right here. This is called a non-walkthrough. Some buses have a pathway that you can walk between the seats and go to the back. Mine was supposed to be like this. Somebody cut it in its past, and I'd like to resurrect that, put it back to the way it should be. So that's one part that's going to be donated into another bus to keep another bus alive. But this thing is just absolutely rusted to death. People are asking why you couldn't save it. You could save it, but you'd be so far behind the game trying to save this that you're almost going to replace almost every single piece on it and to be able to have a bus, and it's cost prohibitive. You would put 100 grand into a bus that would be worth 30 grand when you're done. And we have this lovely specimen, huh? Yeah, not much to be said about this one. The transaxle is going to come out of it, and the front beam is going to come out of it. This is about the 2 best pieces on it. A couple of options that it had. It had a step bumper. That piece will come off the bumper. You know, glass, some other pieces that come out of it. Steering box. Wall art. Yeah, that one's pretty tough. That one got pushed around in the junkyard, it looks like, by their loader. And it looks like they rolled it a few times out of the way. The sun's coming out, awesome. Alright, so what we got to get into is get access to the starter, which is kind of up behind that wheel, and put a little bit of power to it, see if it'll even spin anything. A little chalky, huh?
It's just flat on the bottom.
It's flat all the way around. Got a breaker bar?
Yeah.
And oh, Dude, it's butter. This one turns. That oil did its trick. We first tried to grab it. It wasn't turning. Oh, nice. That's a good sign. Thing turns. Oh, yeah. Are we in, kinda? Somebody got their money's worth out of that tire, huh? That thing is...
I think these are old race tires, aren't they?
What do you want to... Do you have any wood or something we can block up, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
You good with that, or you want to go with this one?
Because the suspension is going to drop down a little bit, but that should be fine.
We'll just do this one.
Yeah.
I think if you go a little higher.
You might be at them.
We're good. Yeah.
You might want to get out of there when I...
Really?
Nothing says we can't leave the jack under there for some extra. Yeah. See if we can get that started though. Yeah, that starter is right up under this heater box, up and around. So we have to go crawl underneath there to gain access to it. You guys can see it right there. So we're going to get rid of this hose right here. Get to those wires right there with a jumper pack and see if we can get this thing to do a little bit of a crank. One thing we're concerned about is to make sure it's in neutral too. You probably just grab the whole thing and try to like... I think
it's in neutral.
One rusty mess though, huh?
Yeah.
That'll make you bleed. Well, I guess if we get it to crank, we'll watch the brake drum and see what the brake drum does. Go from there. The one that we were pulling, wasn't one rolling though? Wasn't one the back wheels turning? Was it this one?
Was it the back that was turning? Oh yeah.
It was, wasn't it?
It was this one.
Yeah, okay.
So it's probably neutral.
Now we probably put it in gear.
I know.
But we'll see. Alright, now I'm going to climb underneath and see if we can get power to it. Get rid of its tail, I guess. So we need to get power. It's getting dark up in here. So these wires right here is where I need to get to. So one gets main power to it, and then there is a little wire should be next to it. Hold on, I'll shake your cam so you can get it off there. Okay, so that's the wire that would normally come from the key switch. And we're going to put a jumper between those two, and when we crank it, hopefully this starter is going to work, but it's anybody's guess right now. So I ended up running the two wires from the starter to the switch, but instead of trying to put power, the hot lead right on the starter, I went to the regulator. That goes also directly to the starter too. Whether that's enough to do it or not, we're just gonna go find out right now. Well, there's your answer. So we're gonna go tweak around. Tell you what, you go on the other side and let me set them up in a stand. I'm gonna go wiggle some stuff around and see if we can get it to fire. All right, just hold the trigger down. There it goes. Oh. Wow. All right, let's go give her a spin. Look at the oil that's blowing out. Yeehaw. I would probably get the test light on there. Maybe we'll check for oil pressure. Alright, so I've got a test light set up and it should light up don't know if you guys can see that. And when we crank it, hopefully that light goes out. There we go. We got oil pressure. Good. All right, we are going to throw the plugs. Might as well throw the plugs back in, and probably the next thing we're going to go chase is spark. Actually, we'll probably leave the plugs out and maybe chase spark just so it's easier to spin. That cap doesn't. It's not even being held on right. Ooh, that looks lovely, huh? Let's see what we got in there for points. You guys got a better shot than I do. I can't even see. You can roll that to the high side. They open. And see how we go clean them up with maybe a file or something. They're gonna, again, they're junk. We're not like we're trying to save them. We're just trying to make it so it has spark back again. Yeah, let's go clean those up, and then we're gonna put some power. We're gonna put 12 volts to one side of the coil. We are going to need, this is the ground side because it's coming up from the points in the condenser, and this will be the 12 volts that it needs to see. So we're gonna try putting 12 volts on there and give her a spin, see if it gets spark. I wouldn't bother with the cap so much. It'll jump across that. Yeah, you're right. I would just worry about the points, getting the points to arc.
They really don't look that bad.
You said that last time too.
The ones in the other one, those were really bad.
Those are corroded white.
Yeah, these actually, we'll put them up a little bit. There we go.
Yeah, we're just gonna try it with all the components that are in it, and if we find if it has the bad, you know, condenser or coil or something, then we'll start swapping stuff over. We're hopefully just gonna try to get the fire up with whatever it has, carb, everything.
Too thick.
I want to open them for you.
Yeah, will you?
To get in there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, what a nice guy.
You in?
A little more. There we go. Here, you can let go of them.
I'm giving you the finger right now. Literally.
Oh, literally, yeah.
That helps,
nice.
though.
Thank you. Can't say I've had someone do that in that way before.
and you're appreciative?
Yeah.
All right.
What'd you do with it?
Is it down by your knee?
Is it right directly in front of us?
Yeah, right here. You're cheating now.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was getting the spider web off of it.
Just put it on.
I know, I was just seeing it. It's Volkswagen.
Come on now.
It's Volkswagen.
Come on. People are dying of his anticipation. Okay, so we're gonna need to take, I got two jumper packs going just for the sake of wires. So the blue pack, the Mac pack is running the starter. And then we're gonna run, just like I did with the test light, we're gonna run 12 volts to the coil off of this side, just because of the distance to go and run. Just makes it a little bit easier. And I could turn the switch on and off on this pack to turn the coil on and off, essentially. All right. So I'm gonna get out from underneath you. You guys are standing on it. There you go. So I'm gonna take this, which is gonna be 12 volts, so we're gonna just energize that side of the coil and put a plug in one of those. You want?
Yeah.
Come on, there you go.
Thanks.
I'll wait a second before I plug that in.
Thank you.
It has the.
Put it where you can see it.
You gonna hold it for me? Okay, now we're gonna go spin that. Let me see that button. And we are looking there. Anything? No. I could probably take a test light And yeah, we take a test light where that ended up. First, let's make sure we got power going to the coil. And then I want to make sure we got an on-off signal. So we have power going to it. Let's see if we get an on-off signal. Now, so there we have a constant ground. Is that right? Yeah, we have a constant ground for some reason. We gotta look into what's going on. Guys, I don't think you guys saw any of that, did you? Anyway, power on this side, and then on the on-off side, that light should turn on and off as it spins, and it's not. It's just staying on all the time. Okay, so what I have right now is the test light is powered by 12 volts. So there's 12 volts on this side, and I'm looking for ground. So the points are open right now. When it closes, that should light up. There it goes. It's iffy though, but it does. Yeah, those points are kind of still chalky. So they're getting an on-off signal. But what's weird is it should, when you connect it to the coil, it should be an on-off signal. Well, I don't have, I'm on the wrong side now. How do I want to do this? Hold on. I need ground, that's what I need. So I have voltage on that side, and that should get grounded out. I wonder if that, maybe that, you know what, I think maybe it's right on the connector itself, because it, no, because I still shouldn't be able to probe that. I know. I should be able to get a closed signal right now. I think we should probably pull those points. Maybe we'll throw another set in there. I think they're just so resistive that it's allowing it to go through. I'm letting the guy with the young eyes get in there and change
you know
them.
what?
What?
This wasn't even plugged in.
I unplugged it.
Oh, I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
I did unplug it. Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be open all the time. That's what actually it was. It was open all the time. Nice of the wind to be picking up for us. It really should have worked, but I don't know if that saddle right there was not right. So we ended up having the set of points we were going to try and put in it just do not fit. It uses a different post in the center of it. So we're going to go check resistance going across this and make sure that we do not have an issue You don't have the little jumper connectors. Never mind, I'll get it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does not have the meter showing. So that should go to 0, open, and be infinity, 0. Now it's working. When I first tried it, it was on the iffy side. Again, if it's a perfect world, we throw new ones in them. We don't have that. I'm even going to go take this real quick and just kind of run the wire wheel over it and kind of clean some of that crap off of there. Could even be just where it was screwed down. It wasn't making, the points were not making maybe a good ground with the chassis. So I'm going to go clean them up. We'll put them back in and try again. All right, we put it back together. And now, when we turn, we're getting an on-off signal. But I do hear that arcing? It went away. I do believe the condenser is probably bad just because it's made such a large arc. But maybe we'll spin it up the way it is. We'll put it back together and we'll see now if we get a spark at the spark plug. But generally, if you get a large arc across the points or something, it's an indication that the condenser is bad. I think we are all set. We got 12 volts going to the coil. And the ground side's hooked up, correct? Yeah, the ground side's hooked up. Let's see if we get anything now. Nope, still nothing. Yeah, we could, you know what? Why don't we plug in this other wire over here,
Yeah.
one of these, and just see what we get. I wonder if we maybe need to ground off of, yes. What's the deal with that? What is on the end of that? That's different. I haven't seen a setup like that before. That nub that's on there. It came out on one of the wires. That's the gut of one of the wires. That one right there. That center came out of that.
Oh yeah.
And we'll go try this one. Yeah, let's go. Now spin that button for me. Good. Alright. I say we go change that condenser out. It's gonna be the coil of the condenser. I'm kind of suspecting the condenser. Either both. Alright, so I pulled the coil wire off of the coil. You want to spin that for me? Just for a second. Alright, so we got plenty of spark. Coil's good. Points are good now, but we have a problem where the signal is not going from the center of the distributor out to each point on the outside of it. More than likely, we have either a post that's bad in the back of in the cap, or the rotor, which I suspect. Oh man, I can get that off. You want to deal with that? I might need two hands. Get the put the cap back in its regular position, and it popped off to the. There you go. Oh, I didn't get it. If you can. Yeah, I thought it was me. Anyway, we're gonna bring you back when we get that rotor out of there. All right, we're gonna go see if we get anything across that rotor. You guys looking? You're not looking. Pay attention. Help if we put it on resistance. That rotor, you guys can see, that rotor should be going to a little bit of resistance. That is wide open. It has nothing. So the signal from the coil comes down to here, supposed to transfer to the end of the rotor, and the rotor, as it passes each post and then the points fire, it jumps an arc to each one of those. Well, this burned out in between inside here, so that's why we have no spark.
What?
So this is the frame underneath, and I kind of wanted to show why this didn't get put back together. This is a piece of angle iron. This is the original frame. Look over on the other side. There's really just nothing left. There's supposed to be a whole section of frame down through here. This bus is just toast. There's just nothing left to it underneath. You literally would have to replace all of it. So we don't have that much here to work with. It's not like at my house where I have a plethora of stash, but he has some parts at his house he just wanted to go get. We tried borrowing the cap and rotor off of this because it's a taller setup, but it's just not going to fly. It's not the correct setup for what we need. So we can go see if we can go get a good rotor, and when that comes back, that should take care of our spark problem. That's the apron that's going to go on it. It's a nice piece. The fender's got to come off and make some room for access to it, because you still have to make the holes for the fenders on the side right there. Those guys right there still need to get put in. You want that? What you got? You leave it? That's not leaving it. How about now? You know the routine. Fine. Be that way. Get your toys and go home. Go get it. Go get it. What you got? Give me that. Give. Leave it. Guys, when I see a screw up on my part, I went in and was dealing with the rotor, and I forgot to disconnect power to the coil. And sometimes if the coil stays energized, it can overheat. I've never seen this happen before, but it blew the guts right out of the coil. So I guess we're replacing that too. Son of a. Did you ever want to see the inside of a coil? You are now. I've never seen that happen. I've seen them get hot. I've never seen them do that. That's what would happen if you left your key on. It's essentially what I did. We got sidetracked with chasing the rotor, and we had a boo-boo. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be fixing that one. But we are still having issues trying to find a rotor. It's left its DNA marks definitely all over everything now. We have to go. You might have to go clean those points again. Nasty. All right. Well, shit happens. Let's move on. So for the fact that we just don't have the correct stuff to operate with, we are literally just going to change out the distributor to a known good one, and change out the coil to a known. You haven't fired this one yet though, huh? You don't know?
No.
So, an unknown coil. We're either going to throw those two in, spin it back up again, and hopefully have spark. Not sure you can see the camera. I just want to show resistance going across on the meter. So there's a resistor going right across here. I believe it's a resistive. And as you can see, that one does something. The other one was wide open. So there's the difference on the rotor. All right, we're going to try this again. We are going to try hooking power to the coil. And turn it on. Wherever our start button is, and we're going to go look at those plugs. I think we're all set. See if either one of those spark. There we go. It's got compression too. All right, so we know we got spark. Let's make sure we turn that off. We are going to throw the plugs back in it, and we should probably dribble a little bit of fuel and see what comes to life. We got the plugs back in it. I don't have spark turned on yet, but I just want to spin it and listen to it for a second. Sounds pretty good. Sounds? Yeah, we're going to find out as far as compression. All right, so we're going to go get some fuel in that carb and turn the spark on, see what happens. All right, I'm going to try putting some fuel in the carb itself down the breather, just so the float ball has some in it. It's bubbling out of the top. Let's go see what happens. Turn spark on. And make sure you guys are running. That would suck. Missed the money shot. All right. Oh, shot it out the top of the car. Wow. I don't know why it's pumping the gas out of the top though. There's no fuel tank in this thing. The line's off of it. I don't know. Choke is open. There's literally no gas line to the gas tank. I have a feeling there's a little bit of fuel that was left in the fuel pump, and it's pumping some crappy fuel up into it. Let's go give her another squirt. Fresh fuel. We'll see if it'll run off of that for a second. I'm gonna bottle feed it. Oh, baby.
Come on.
We're gonna let it cool off for a few minutes. The left side just started firing right at the very end. It was
Yeah,
always on the right, on the right, on the right, and finally, right as I stopped, it puffed out of that. We're gonna let the starter cool down for a couple of minutes. I want to refuel my bottle, and we'll give her another shot. If I had to pull that carb out, what was happening when you were inside? It was pumping fuel through. I think there was a little bit of fuel, whatever was left in the fuel system, because there's no fuel line on the tank.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the fuel was coming from, but it must have been residual that was in the line. I don't know.
It squirted out the top of the
Yeah,
tire,
it was
too.
weird.
I've never seen that do that before.
Try getting it. I would doubt very much that the accelerator pump does anything. But where's our start button? Where did our start button go? I'm on it.
Just sitting on it.
Come on, baby. Come on. You can do it.
Uh-oh.
Might shut the wire off. Does not want to play well with others. Hey. Again. You're trying. You're trying.
You can do it.
My eyes were getting to see him blasted. Some glasses on. So I
at
think
that.
we got rid of the crappy fuel that was in the float bowl, and now some better stuff is getting in there.
Yeah.
Might want to wait till it stops spinning before I hit the starter button again. All right.
Hey, it runs.
I think it's a good motor.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get in, maybe do a compression test after we spin it a
Yeah,
little
we
bit.
should. Yeah, I'm curious.
Fire! Coils at me.
Did it?
I think we need more gas. All right. Let's give her one more time. Then we're going to do a compression test on it.
Coil's not on.
What's that?
Coil's not on.
It's on. Oh, no, it's not. Well, good point. I think that is good enough until we get a carburetor that's decent to keep it running on. But that's good enough to say that it seems like a decent motor. Sounded like it was running on all four to me. Let's go do a compression test. All right, where we at? Is number one? Yeah, number one.
Yep.
Let's call that a 130, 130?
Yeah, I'd say that's 130, yeah.
Good. And those who are asking about throttle, if you notice, I have it up on the butterfly on here. It's not full throttle, but it's about half throttle open. Enough air is able to get in it. Generally, you would want it full throttle, but it's really not affecting us right now. You ready for number two? Holy moly. Buck 50. And number three. 20. That's good. That's the cylinder we were always concerned about. That's the one that always takes the damage. A little over 120 actually.
Yeah, almost 130, 125 ish.
23. All right.
22 and a half.
And last but not least, number four. Same as number
About
three.
the same,
right?
yeah.
Good. So that's pretty good. A little bit of a difference that 150 is a tad tall compared to the other ones. It's better the more even that it is, but that's fine. Once you get below 90, then you really got an engine problem. Again, we haven't even adjusted the valves yet and run this thing for a decent amount of time. But for sitting 40 years and running for the minute that it ran, those numbers are fairly decent. If this runs, again, once it gets put into whatever it gets put into and a little more homework done on it, and again, just the valves, I have a feeling it's going to smooth out even more than that. So for being a piece of junk bus that everybody said, why'd you take this home? Well, there's one reason right there. It's got a good engine, and then you still have the transaxle and the other part of that yet, which is bus only. That is got a bit of a value to it. So that's it, guys. We have a survivor for the engine. The bus is done, but it will help save quite a few other buses, and one of them being the divider that I talked about that I need for my bus. So that's it for this one, guys. Thank you all for kind of hanging out and again working on old rusty junk and having some fun. Until the next one, I'll see you later. Bye. Let's go see what the inside of that carb looks like, shall we? I'm curious myself. Get the spring off. It's got a spring inside a spring. It's got two springs on it. Guess they had a throttle return problem. Alright. I'm willing to bet it might be a little on the gunky side, especially when it was pushing up out of the vent, which again I haven't seen. That would make me feel that the float is stuck, and it was able to push, again, like we said, any more fuel past it and overflow the float bowl. I think we got them all. One's gonna hold it up just a little, you know it is. Need something with authority to hit it. Look at that hammer, trying to make me feel at home. Alright. Play tough with you. There it goes, it's off. Hold on. I would say that fuel is quite appetizing. Should pour that out into something that we could see. Let's go pour that into the cup. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that's the passage where the fuel goes through. There and up through here, through this horn. She's pretty crappy. Needs a turn in the ultrasonic cleaner for sure. So I threw some fuel inside it. I want to hit the throttle a couple times. I want to see if we get anything coming out of the accelerator pump. Actually, it is. You guys can actually see. It's trying. It's pushing out some nasty stuff though. Like brown, bloody mud is coming out of it. You see the tip of it turning colors? Yeah, that died on us. Yeah, so that accelerator pump is just barely doing anything of anything. The diaphragms harden up over time, then you have a tendency not to push any fluid. That should give a constant squirt going out of it. Yeah, so we don't have the capacity really to give this thing a good cleaning. So we went and we stole a carb off of something else that we are hoping will play well. So we're gonna go put a new gasket on that, we'll flip it over, fill it up with gas, and we'll see if it squirts out the accelerator pump at least. I'm gonna try putting some fuel in this one, fill up the flow pole. Actually, let's see if it'll do it through the, which it should. Give it a little bit. And hopefully we should get a squirt. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Like good pee-pee coming out of it. All right, we're gonna try one more time. We got another carburetor on it. Got some fuel on standby. Turn the power on. See what we get. I think the firing order I have screwed up somewhere around possibly.
Yeah, it sounds like it's misfiring.
That's number 3. That's number 4. Let's double check.
It sounded like this side was running though. It was definitely running now, but it sounded like it was misfiring.
This should be number 1.
I think it is.
It's number 1. 1 is on 1.
Is one of them not firing?
I don't know. Let's let it run for a little bit. See what we get. Right to the coil. That back on. I think we got a bad plug wire. Remember the ends that were coming out of it?
One, yeah. I got some inside.
So all right.
I guess brand new ones. We want to swap them out.
If you would like to, go for it. So you definitely feel we have a bad plug wire. We're going to pull one off at a time. And I'll hit the body with it. Okay. Fire it up and see if we can hear a sound difference. If we go down to 2 cylinders or if one doesn't make a difference at all. So that's a definite. We know that one's firing. Normally, I would do it with a test light and short out each one, but we're under kind of. So we know which cylinder's dead. Number 4 plug wire is no good. All right, so we got a different wire on there. We're going to fill that carb up one more time. Put power to it. See if she'll run on all 4. It's principle now, you know? I was hoping it was gonna idle. We're gonna fill it up, but we see if it'll idle. You still see it's like one of them's kind of iffy. But we know it's got good compression on all of them, so it's just tune-up parts. Let's see if it'll idle for us. I was trying to save it. That one, I bet you that's the other one that's pulled out too. Yeah. One more. So on the end of the plug wire, that's what had fallen out of the plug wire itself. That would do it. All right, hopefully this time it'll run on all four. Power. Switch on and run out of gas shortly. Awesome. Yep, out of gas now. Used up what it got, but I would say that's one sweet motor for sitting for 40 years in a junkyard. I'm happy with that. You happy with that?
Oh, I'm super happy.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Now that's the end of it. I'm happy that we were able to get to this point and confirm that we have a good, strong engine, and it will get transplanted into another vehicle sometime in the future. So with that, thank you all for kind of hanging out and playing with some rusty junk and having some fun. Till the next one, I will see you folks later. Bye. And the shop mascot. What you doing, girl? I feel like I'm being followed. What are you doing? All right. Say hi to the peoples. So he's out getting coffee. The Beetle has moved its location, just a little update on some of the other projects. The engine is going to come apart. The tins anyway, the internals seem fine. They'll retorque the heads, do all the normal stuff, but the tins are going to come off, get sandblasted, get painted, put back together. I trying to talk the owner into not painting the car and leaving the car original. He buffed a little section of it out, as you can see in the fender right there, how much of a difference it makes between what it did look like, what it looks like now, and just kind of keep it as a driver. It's hard to find stuff with original paint anymore, and I think if you kind of push the dents out and clean some stuff up, it would really be a nice car. The Porsche is kind of where it has been since the last video of us actually taking it down the street and driving it. Brake cluster has been freed up. That was a problem before. He got a new door coming for it from eBay, and is complete with all the hardware and glass and electric motors and wiring harness. Although it's the wrong color, it's the correct door for it. All he has to do is paint the door, and the rest of the car should be good enough for now to put back together as a driver. And the M3 is waiting on a spark plug wire set that's supposed to be coming in, the correct one for it. And the issue with this car, it sat for 20 years. It ran a couple of years ago, had bad fuel in it, did some purging on that. One of the plug wires was bad. A new set is waiting to be shown up for that, and still chasing a miss on that. But they want to check the wires, replace the wires so you know one of them is bad first, and then from there might look into injectors. Compression was already done on it, and compression looked all good, so it's either starving for fuel or it's lost a spark in one of the cylinders. But the radio still works.